were. You gotta lower the music, Jeff.
There you go.
Like 21. Okay. Hopefully people can hear us good. Yeah, we're good. Welcome. It's gonna be a fun stream, I think. We got Galaxy music going on right now, and it's pretty legit. Yeah.
I can't tell.
You have headphones on.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't usually get to. He doesn't usually let me listen.
Usually, but now it's special occasion.
It's a special day.
Exactly.
We need to.
Mm-hmm.
Does Daniel want to tell them fine people out there what we're doing?
Okay. So we're streaming.
Are we?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And essentially, we're gonna be talking about the FTC conference that happened a little bit ago. And it's something that, we should really talk about, just due to how sincere I am about it. I mean, it could kind of affect
It's a problem.
YouTube as a whole. It is a problem. We should probably, shut up the music now. Boom. Purple coins? Fire song, but, we gotta get this started.
Let's play the video.
Okay, let's do it.
We're gonna do a rolling commentary as the video progresses, I assume.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. You ready?
I am.
Well, let me just make sure the YouTube chat's correctamundo. There we go. We got the stream chat going. What's up, Sandra? I know my bro Owen came popping by.
He said, "Yeah."
Oh, Brian. The government is robbing people by fining us.
It is.
Yeah, actually, that's a big fact. But we're gonna see even more about what's popping with this. Okay. You know what? Let's make this stream chat a little bigger.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a touch like that.
That's pretty big.
Hey, depending on how many streams, chats going.
How many stream chats going?
Get torches.
Yeah, that's huge.
Okay, fine. It's a little bit big.
It's a little bit big.
That's
no, it's tiny.
Jeff, I'm figuring you're making these things more difficult. And the pitchforks. Get the torches into the pitchforks, and then boom. That's how we conquer.
Divide and conquer.
How does 800 sound?
I don't know.
That looks better.
Does it?
Yeah. See, look.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Oh, we got a bunch of people.
Wow, look at all that.
The pitchforks. Hi. How's it going, Mini-Min?
Mini-Min.
I'm actually not sure who that is.
He's tiny guy.
I mean, that makes sense.
Maybe. Well, he's Mini-Men, so I'm assuming he's
No, it's Mini-Min, like minutes, but min.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on.
So he's very long. We'll start the video.
Okay, we should probably do that. Okay, let's do this, people. You know what? Strime, what?
Strime?
Let me just make sure everything's going smoothly. Okay.
Oh my god.
What?
We are into almost hour 2 of you preparing for the stream. We should start now.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. FTC press conference is right here. We out here. Rafi's in the chat.
That's my guy.
So yeah, let's do it. Okay, let me just make sure that it looks kind of peachy here. Wait! I'm being stupid.
You are being stupid.
Am I?
Yes.
I am being stupid. I didn't even turn on the display capture. Boom!
Now you can see it.
Yeah, you can also see us double time.
Double time.
Triple. Quadruple.
Oh my god, so many times you can't even count.
We're expanding, Jeff. Expanded dong.
Oh god.
Yikes. Oh, Melissa, how's it going? Brian said free YouTube. Yeah. Free YouTube, Jeff. Okay.
Solidarity. Join the fist.
Join the... Plead the fifth?
Plead the fifth.
Yeah. What? Did I mess something up? No, I didn't. Okay, I'm being stupid. Okay. My fault. My fault. Just do this. Do something like that. Don't question it, Jeff. Alright, let's do it.
Thank you.
Alright, ready?
Alright, there we go.
Okay, before we actually start, let me just make sure it actually looks good on the stream. I would if I had double monitor, then I could easily just check, but
he can't though.
Yeah. Let's see how it looks, Jeff.
What were we looking at?
This.
Oh, this is cool. They can see us looking at the phone.
Yeah. I'm expanding that, and I'm gonna go to Chrome. Okay. We did it. Okay.
It's looking great.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually expert.
Now you get to watch us just look at the phone and wait.
Okay, ready, Jeff?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous, but let's do it.
Let's do it.
Also, if anyone who's watching, if you want me to like, upper,
raise the volume.
raise the volume or lower the volume.
Upper the volume. He's eloquent today.
Yeah, big eloquent.
Big eloquence.
Wait, chat's not popping up, Jeff.
Yeah, you can see it on the phone.
Yeah, but people can. Oh, yeah, it's great.
I'm tired of you preparing for this.
Yeah, you
Start
are.
the video.
Okay, never mind.
What?
The chat's popping up. Okay.
Okay.
I was just being stupid. Just taking a while.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Case announcement.
Thought I was just gonna like break down.
Announcement is going to be made by Chairman Joe Simons, and
Joe.
then questions are going
So
to
do
be
you
answered by the Director of our Bureau of Consumer
Understand.
Protection.
This is gonna be a
Andrew
little bit
Smith.
of an intro right now.
There
They're not
will
gonna
be
be. There's not gonna
questions
be a
taken
whole
from
lot
the
of
floor. There will
meat
be
in
a
the
mic
video
brought
until
around, so please, if you
a
have a
little bit. So
question,
intro on this.
raise
What
your
do
hand
we know?
following the statements,
The
and then we will
FTC
take
did
you
a
from the
thing
phones.
of
Following that,
COPPA,
you'll be dismissed,
the
and
Child
anyone
Online
who would
Privacy
like an
Protection
interview,
Act,
please let us
and
know.
it's
We have
been
interviews in English and Spanish
altered
now
a lot
for anybody who's
recently,
interested. So
especially
thank
in
you
like the
very much
last
for being here,
week or
and let me
however. Well, I
present
mean, this
Chairman
press
Joe
conference
Simons.
is from September, if I'm not mistaken. But
Oh.
like, oh, how's it going, Joe? I think that's Joe. But
Good
it's
morning,
recently been
and
brought to
welcome
light.
the Federal Trade Commission.
So
Today,
yeah.
I am pleased to announce
Um,
that Google and YouTube have agreed to pay $170 million and
Yeah.
to implement strong conduct relief in settlement of an action brought by the FTC and the New York State Attorney General's Office for alleged violations
York State,
of the
really?
Children's
Yeah, apparently.
Online
Because this is a
Privacy
global
Protection
thing, so
Act,
New York State is
commonly
calling them
known
out.
as
I
COPPA.
guess so.
Let me start by explaining why we allege that Google and YouTube violated our
They
rule
did something about like
Okay.
like
COPPA requires that
tracking
certain websites
child
and
like what
apps
children
give
watch,
parents
and like
consent
apparently
before collecting
they didn't
Wait,
like
that's
that.
information
You know.
from children. The definition of personal information includes cookies used in behavioral advertising.
Turn
The
it up.
COPPA
Okay,
rule
tell me to
applies
turn it up.
differently to
Okay,
third
turn it up a little bit.
Let me do that. Oh yeah, cause I lowered it cause the song.
Oh, yes.
So I'm gonna do. I mean, it's a press conference, so it's not gonna be that loud.
Yeah.
9.9.
Let's try it. and then we
Okay.
can come back
Yeah.
if it needs to.
Okay, let's go back to it.
Parties serving behavioral ads versus creators of child-directed content. While the content creators are strictly liable for COPPA compliance, third parties are subject to COPPA's
Okay, yeah.
requirements
See, Rafi said the issue
only
is collecting child
where they have
information.
actual knowledge that the website or
Ralphie,
service they're serving
I mean, like
the
he's
ads to
right.
is child-directed.
They're not really collecting child
To put it in
information. They're collecting
context, for
everyone's
today's
information.
case, YouTube
guess,
as a
but,
general
like,
audience
I guess the problem
platform
is because
not
they're doing
directly
child
strictly
information, and,
liable
like I guess it's
under
not
COPPA
allowed
for the
or
content
whatever.
of the videos uploaded by others to its platform, unless it has actual knowledge that the content is child-directed.
Okay.
Our complaint alleges numerous instances in which YouTube and Google had actual knowledge of the child-directed nature of channels and videos on the YouTube
but still
platform.
no reason to make this a big deal.
This is the
I mean,
basis for the FTC to find that
But really,
Google
they're
and
not talking
YouTube
about the information. 'cause
violated
people keep
COPPA.
collecting information on children all the time. That's
Our
the
order
internet. All these
accomplishes
other
three
cookies
important
nonstop. All the
purposes.
other, there's child
First,
websites that have
It
cookies all the
imposes
time.
a
Yeah.
substantial monetary
Good ones and
judgment
bad ones.
of $170 million,
But
with
Maybe just because YouTube's, like,
$136 million going to
like
the
such a
Federal
big
Trade
platform,
Commission
and it's like
as a civil
targeted
penalty,
to like so many
and $34
demographics,
million
and
going to
like
the
I
state
guess
of New
parents
York.
just like hate the fact of like
The $170 million
their children,
judgment
like,
is 30
coming up on
times
something
larger
that's-
than the largest
I don't know.
COPPA civil
What to say?
penalty the
But
FTC has
cartoons.
ever previously obtained.
Yeah.
It is three
mean,
times larger than any
you could
privacy
definitely say that
penalty
maybe
assessed against
cartoons are a
Google
little bit more
anywhere else
content
in the world.
filled just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it is
there's a
10
difference
times
between
larger
Bugs Bunny and
than the
buying
civil
toy
penalties
reviews.
we have
There is.
obtained
But
in
you know,
all of our
cartoons were
31
originally,
prior
and a lot
COPPA
of them
cases
still are, created
combined.
for selling toys.
Yeah.
A penalty
That's
of
it.
this
They
magnitude
want you to buy toys.
sends a
Right.
strong
And
signal
so
about the importance
there is
of children's
maybe
privacy.
a little bit more because the Ryan
Second,
Story Reviews has more.
The
to
order
it,
requires the
but there
companies
is,
to refrain
again,
from
a little bit of
using
content in
or
there. Like,
benefiting
there's
from the data
unboxing
that they
reviews all the
previously
time, and
collected
people watch
from
those.
child-directed
It's
videos
just, that's
or
child
channels.
version. So
Third, the order imposes additional obligations on Google and YouTube that go beyond the requirements of COPPA. The order requires YouTube and Google to notify channel owners about their potential COPPA obligations. It also requires YouTube to develop a system or a mechanism through which channel owners must identify their child-directed content
Well, I mean, that's kind
on
of
the
how the
YouTube
government works.
platform,
In a
so
way.
that such
What are you replying
content,
He
to?
said,
content
Brian,
can
he
be
said the government and the
treated in a
parents can't go around
COPPA-compliant
making federal
manner.
laws we never agreed on.
This is particularly
yeah, I'm gonna have to
significant
agree with
because
Daniel on
COPPA
that.
does
Yeah.
not
Yeah, that's kind of how the
require
government
platforms
works.
That's
such as
literally
YouTube
how government works.
to determine whether the videos
Now, it's not really the
posted
parents
by
making the
others
laws. Actually, they're just
are
like
directed to
complaining,
kids
and then
or
that kind
not.
of like gets heard
Going
by the
forward,
government
YouTube and
or
Google
the
will
FTC
automatically
in this
have
case.
knowledge
I bet not
of
many that. I
and
bet
COPPA
not many
liability for
parents
all
actually
child-directed
complain
Really?
content
Because I mean, like, if they
designated
didn't,
through
then this
this
I don't think this
mechanism.
would be as big of a deal as it is now.
In this
But
way,
honestly,
the
people
order
just like something
prevents
to complain about.
YouTube
If
and
you really,
Google
really,
from
really
turning a
don't
blind
want your
eye to
child
the
watching
existence
those
of kids'
things, then
content
just
on the
don't let them.
YouTube platform. Finally,
It's that simple.
YouTube must
Yeah.
provide
Why you gotta come
annual
after us?
training about compliance with COPPA for employees
And like,
that deal with
it
the
doesn't.
channel owners.
All this doesn't change
None of
anything
this
because
is
there's still
required
going to be
by
Ryan
law.
Store reviews.
No other company in
It's just
America
now it's going to be
is subject to these
subject to
types
these
of
gross
requirements,
rules.
Right.
and they will
But it's
impose
still gonna
significant
exist.
costs
They
on
still can
YouTube.
monetize, and now they're going to actually have to go.
This case
towards
sends strong
more
messages to third
ad-related
parties
things,
like
because since they
YouTube,
can't get
channel
monetization
owners,
from
and the business
YouTube
community
itself,
as
they're
a
going to have
whole.
to go to ad places and
For
buy
YouTube
things.
and other third
like,
parties
they're gonna have
like
to
it
go
that
to toy
serve
companies like
ads,
Hasbro.
they
Yeah.
Be
can't
like, give me
market
a
their
deal. I will
ability to
make
get
your
child
toys in
viewers
exchange
on
for
the
money,
one hand
because that's the only way
and
they can
disavow
monetize
knowledge that
Right.
children are
now. So
using
all
their
this does
service
is making advertising
on the
more
other.
prevalent
Yeah.
and
They
easier
can't
to
rate
find for
videos
children.
as kid-directed
So
for one
it doesn't
purpose,
make any sense.
and then say they
It's-
have no
Rafi
COPPA
actually, says
liability
that. He said the problem
when
isn't
they collect
advertising; it's more of it
information
of
from
having
kids
an entire
watching
section of
those
YouTube that collects
videos.
the demographic of people who technically cannot give
For
consent.
those who create
But
child-directed
this
content
is
to
not
upload
about
on YouTube,
collecting
the
information.
message from
It's not.
today's case
Because if it was
is
about
that the
collecting
FTC
information, then it would
considers
stop
these
that.
videos
They
and
still are.
channels to be websites or online services directed
What they're
to
talking
children
about
under
is
the rule, and thus strictly liable for
advertising.
compliance
Yeah.
with COPPA.
And advertising is just going to get
Once
worse
our
under
order
this.
has been
Yeah.
effected for a period of time, the Commission
He
will
also said
conduct
that,
a sweep
he said it's
of
not
the YouTube
made from
platform
parents; it's a lawsuit from the
determine
FTC.
whether
That's,
child-directed
that's the whole-
content
Well, yeah,
is
but-
being properly
I
designated
mean, you could make
as
the claim
such
that the
in order
FTC
to
is doing this
ensure
because
that
of
the
complaints.
channels
Yeah.
themselves
But
are complying
again,
with
I don't
COPPA.
really even see that probably
Finally,
as the motivator.
To
Really.
the business
Yeah.
community at large, let me be clear.
I mean,
Oh, let me be clear.
The FTC takes its obligation to enforce COPPA seriously. If companies violate COPPA, the FTC will take aggressive action, require corrective measures, and use its authority to seek substantial civil penalties.
Ooh.
Let me close by thanking our
Substantial.
partners at the New York State Attorney General's office, and I would like to thank in particular the
Attorney
FTC staff attorneys, Kristen Cohen, Tiffany George, and Peter McGee, for their tireless work on this case. Thank you, and I'd like to turn the podium now over to Andrew Smith, our Bureau Director.
Now this guy,
Thank you.
I've heard some stuff about. Like he's been essentially the face of like all this talk.
Thank you.
Oh, that's
So
legit.
the floor is
I wonder
open
what's
for
in there.
questions.
Yeah, maybe water.
probably.
I
Who
wanted
knows?
to reiterate, while you're collecting yourselves for questions, that some of the points the chairman made. First, that this is the first time that we are holding a platform liable under COPPA for content on the platform. Second, this is an historic penalty. The chairman outlined that it's 30 times greater than our next highest COPPA penalty, more than 10 times all of the COPPA penalties cumulatively imposed to date, more than 3 times
Really?
larger than the
Wow,
largest
it's
privacy
really that
penalty ever imposed on Google in any country by any regulator. I also wanted to note, it's a sort of a topic near and dear to my heart. It happens that $170 million is roughly the budget of the Bureau of Consumer Protection for 1 year.
Look at
The
that.
agency budget is $300 million. 170 million of that is dedicated to us. So with this action, we are actually reimbursing the Treasury and
I
the
like what Ravi
taxpayers
said.
for
In
our
his cup is a
operating
liquor,
expenses
it
for
is a
this
liquid
year.
cocaine.
So
He must be on to make this
no
rule.
need for all of you to thank me now, but you're welcome.
No, if it was Coke, you'd be all bouncing up and down.
And
It's probably
maybe
lean.
most importantly,
Oh,
that
leaning.
this
He'd be
action
sipping.
is
Sure.
changing
Sipping that drink.
YouTube's
Oh.
business model. That YouTube cannot bury its head in the sand. YouTube cannot pretend that it's not aware of the content on its platform and hope to escape liability.
I mean,
for-
the one thing I want to say though, I think the whole like origin of YouTube wasn't like when it comes to like the target demographic, it wasn't exactly demographed for kids. It was originally for like older audiences.
I don't even think that matters so much.
Really?
Because, well, we're not talking
like-
about the original. We're talking about what it is now.
I know, but
Because-
even then, like what it's originally supposed to be, wouldn't that
Well,
kind
what
of
is
have to stick?
what YouTube was originally supposed to be was a dating website.
That's true. Yeah.
So we can't go by what it was originally meant to be.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but I don't really see this as. We probably can keep it playing while we talk.
Oh yeah.
I don't really see this
COPPA.
as necessary.
YouTube is
because
going to be explicitly
isn't
held
YouTube
liable for
doing these
complying with
things.
COPPA where it has
YouTube isn't
actual
making-
knowledge of the
they are
content.
making a good
YouTube
amount
is
of
going
money
to
off
be
it because,
required to seek
any
out that
use from the
actual
youth
knowledge
is used for
through
YouTube. But they're not
requiring
actively
content
encouraging this
creators
type
and
of
channel
content.
owners
Yeah.
They
to
might be
specifically
maybe making
designate
it a
whether
little
they
bit
are
more
directed to
promoted with
children.
their
And as the chairman
algorithm,
noted,
but they're not making this content
not only
for.
can we
There's
sue
people who have found
Google
a
and
way to
YouTube
exploit
for
YouTube
compliance
to
with
make money
COPPA,
off
but
of
also
this, and they make that
individual
content.
channel owners
And now
and
YouTube
content
obviously
creators.
does make. What?
You heard that, Jeff?
No, I didn't hear it. What happened?
Oh, you heard?
Channel owners and content creators, and once this order has been fully implemented,
Go back.
we implement it and fully order has been this order has been fully implemented has been once this order has once
Wow, this only goes by like
for
a few
compliance
frames.
with COPPA, but also
Wait, here we go.
individual channel Google and YouTube.
Come on.
Not only can we sue Google and YouTube for compliance with COPPA, but also individual channel owners and content creators. And once this order has been fully implemented, we intend to conduct a sweep of the YouTube platform to determine whether there remains child-directed content on the platform with respect to which personally identifiable information continues to be collected. So, questions?
Yeah, that was a big thing that they talked about.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and from what I heard, I think the fine is roughly around like 42K.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. And I think I don't know if it's like per channel, but from what I heard, it could also be like per video. If that's
That's
the
a
case,
lot.
that would be insane.
That would be incredibly insane.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I know.
I mean, even Ryan's Toy Reviews doesn't have that much money.
Yeah.
Actually, they probably do.
Yeah.
But they would be very poor afterwards.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Well, I mean, the thing about Ryan's Toy Reviews is that it doesn't go against any channel guidelines, and it's specifically targeted for kids. So it
I haven't
fits
actually
into that.
watched a Ryan's Toy Review.
Yeah, but you can kind of get the general premise of it.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference because if it's entirely based around, you know, there's a certain content that any YouTuber can bring, no matter how advertiser based it is. You know, like really, it's the difference between cartoons that do nothing, like they're horrible and they literally just exist to sell the toy,
Yeah.
and cartoons that are made like Bugs Bunny and, you know, like Looney Tunes, you know, that were made to sell toys, yes, but also made because there were people behind it who cared about it and people who really wanted to make original content that was good.
Right.
You know, so it depends. If they're going after, it really wouldn't be fair, because not only is this affecting people outside of the umbrella of toy reviews, it's affecting everyone, and there are still going to be cartoons that are horrible that get away with just selling and no content.
Right.
I would see it maybe being a little bit more reasonable, them going after the people who are only advertising. But what's Rafi saying?
It's not Rafi, it's Brian.
What's Brian saying?
Daddy
Yeah,
Jeff.
Brian. Love you.
Uh,
But I mean, it's just, it's stupid.
yeah, it is.
I mean, maybe a little bit more reasonable if they do it correctly, but they won't.
Yeah.
And it's still compared
Well, I
to
mean,
TV,
like this is 2 months ago. So I mean, like, and keep in mind, like I stated to you earlier, they did like release something like about this whole thing. I mean, like, there's literally, I think on their website actually, you can like express like your opinion about the FTC, and they will actually like listen to it.
They won't listen to it.
You think?
They give you an option to, but
Oh,
they have one guy whose job is to read that, and he does not read them.
right.
Well, he does, but he does not. I want to hear the questions.
Oh yeah, let's see the
I'm
questions.
curious.
Let's see what people want to know.
Yes, Margaret.
Oh, I thought there was just gonna be
Oh,
nothing.
microphone.
Oh, thank you. Margaret McGill with Politico. Can you say what prompted this investigation?
What prompted it?
That's
Very
Our
interesting.
investigation
I'd
was prompted by complaints from consumer groups. No, Manisha? Oh, so we had started the investigation prior to that, and we also received complaints. I want to note that we appreciate our partnership with consumer advocates and privacy groups, and
Privacy
that we
groups.
rely on the good work that they do
Okay.
to help us to enforce the law.
What?
Privacy groups. I'm
Yes,
telling you,
question.
it's all one giant conspiracy. Big
Hi,
TV,
Brian
they're
Tracy
trying to
with the
shut
Wall
us
Street
down.
Journal. This is another 3-2
Privacy
vote
groups.
following
That's
the
big
3-2
TV.
vote on Facebook.
I'm
What,
curious.
in your view, is the impact of having a partisan divide on a couple of these large settlements going forward?
See, I don't know what a partisan divide is.
So
It appears
I
he doesn't
hope
either.
that business does not doubt our resolve, that this is an historic penalty.
Partisan divide is like
It is
no bias.
staggeringly
Oh.
large in the privacy world and in the COPPA world. I am a little saddened, I have to say, by the partisan divide. Personally, I think this is a really strong settlement, and I think that it passes muster under anybody's standards. I also,
wait.
however,
What?
appreciate
No,
the
partisan divide
concerns
does not mean.
of,
Partisan means divide. I got
of our
confused.
Democratic
Partisan divide means
commissioners
there's a
and the
divide
concerns
between
voiced
the
in
sides.
that.
Oh,
There-
okay.
a
In
partisan
their
divide would be
dissents,
like
I would note
abortion.
that both of
Oh,
their
I see.
dissents indicate
And
that
that,
this
as
is
we
a
know, is a
thorough
pretty controversial
investigation
topic.
It's
conducted
very
by
partisan
staff, that the
divided.
law
Yeah.
violations are clear, and that the relief that we get is strong. It's just that they wish there was more of it. Yes, there's a question right in front here.
Thank you, Dave Pereira from Amlex. You've referred multiple times to this.
He's like, thank you, Dave. I don't know why. I just like it a lot. It's like it's soft sounding.
ASMR.
ASMR, exactly.
Daniel loves that ASMR.
I love
He
ASMR.
really
I
does.
can't even front.
Sweep that the FTC will conduct on YouTube channels, and it's an important part of the enforcement of this order. Yet there are 23 million channels that upload a combined 500 hours of video every minute. So, given that amount of content, what kind of meaningful sweep can you conduct?
Well, I think that we have a variety of tools at our disposal to
That's a
cull
good
through
question.
those 23 million channels and in an expeditious way. I mean, this is the way that we generally enforce COPPA, is by actually reviewing content to determine if it's directed to children. We have a variety of factors in our rule that we consider when determining whether or not content is directed to children. And so that's the way we do business. It has been successful
he's
so
not even
far.
really being
I think
clear.
that I have no doubt that it will be
now he's talking
similarly
about content
successful with
directed to
respect to
children.
YouTube,
Yeah.
Well,
despite
this
the
law
large
affects
quantity of
content.
information
It's
on
not,
the platform.
This law wasn't supposed to be about content directed towards
Raquel
children.
Martin
Yeah.
went
It
It
next
was
to our meeting.
whether or not it's directed. It was supposed to be about advertising directed towards children. So now they're going to see if it's directed towards children. Well, Ryan's toy reviews is affected by this. They're supposed to be, affected by this, but
Exactly.
it is directed towards children.
Mm-hmm.
So now, by his own admission, they wouldn't be scrutinized.
Right.
So he's unclear. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. It's stupid.
Yeah. The whole YouTube Kids thing.
YouTube Kids, what's that?
It's this thing that YouTube created, where it's like, essentially they would only put channels that are, or not just channels, but like videos in general that are like specifically designed for kids, if you know what I'm saying. Like it's supposed to be for like children under the age of 13, while like
Right.
regular YouTube is supposed to be for 13 and up.
Right. Okay.
So
What about it?
I mean, like, Brian said, why do you think they made YouTube Kids for? They created YouTube Kids for a reason, kids under 13 should use YouTube Kids instead of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like,
Is the government blind? Yes.
it's been blind.
There's a reason justice is blind. The lady with the things, she can't see.
Top the biggest thoughts of all time. Number 8, Helen Keller. She was caught talking to a scene of people. That's a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm like, well, how do you feel about the whole YouTube Kids? I mean, I think it's a good idea, like, personally.
I do. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's kind of unrelated almost in a way.
Why,
Because-
though? But it's still, like, talking about, like...
Because again, the whole law isn't about content for kids. Even though it's actually being set up in the way, which is weird, right? Because it's being set up in a way that diversifies content that's not for kids and content that is for kids.
Right.
Because we went over the policies ourselves. That's really what it is. It's making a divide between mature content and kid content.
Yeah.
Daniel with the water.
Guys, stay hydrated.
But really what they were claiming it to be about is contents that were advertising and using information to take advantage of kids.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the law isn't exactly making sense. They're not enforcing it in a way that's consistent with what they said it was going to be. Because that's why I think YouTube Kids is kind of unrelated. Because we already did kind of have a significant divide between the things that were mature content and the things that weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could go on YouTube Kids and you weren't going to find PewDiePie cursing.
Right.
And you could go on YouTube. I'm sure you could go on the more mature sections of YouTube. You weren't going to find things like Ryan's toy reviews.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I mean, no, I feel... No, YouTube would be, like, for... Like, it would have everything, while YouTube Kids would have, like, kid stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but if you search up like some nasty shit, you're gonna, you're gonna find. But so they wanted to divide between advertising and things that were content, but they're not. They're just reinforcing YouTube Kids and putting it across the whole platform, making people decide what they are,
Yeah.
which is again inconsistent and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does it accomplish?
Yeah. Now, we can't just, like, really, like talk, like, just be like, yo, government, we don't want this, because they're not going to listen, right?
Sometimes. Sometimes they listen.
Yeah, but
I
not
mean,
always.
if people make a big enough stink, they'll listen.
Right.
But there's no guarantee. Let's hear the
I'm
other.
like, I mean, this is a pretty big deal as it is, so
That's true.
I feel like a majority, I feel like,
Well, you-
my personally, I think a majority of people in this country actually do care about YouTube.
Well, you follow current events probably a bit more than I do, because I just read the newspaper occasionally.
You do?
I do, yes.
Like the actual, like, paper?
Yes, because I hate CNN.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
hate Fox News. I hate, if you are a TV news thing, I hate you.
Oh.
Just let's sum that up. I don't like you. You're taking advantage of people. You don't matter. So I read the newspaper.
Okay.
And I try to get the Wall Street Journal when I can, but mostly I read New York Times. And they don't really talk about this a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't
'Cause the
know.
internet's more, like, up to date with stuff.
Exactly. So I don't know exactly. I'm sure they've had an article or two, but I'm sure I haven't seen it. So I don't really know what the global reaction to this new law has been. So you would know more about that.
Yeah.
Well, what has it? Has it been a big deal? Has it been?
Oh yeah,
a
it's
small
been a
deal?
huge deal. I mean,
Really?
like, well, like last week or something, I heard a video. I saw a video by Jadronic, who was a YouTuber. He's a pretty big YouTuber.
Big guy.
Yeah. And he talked about the whole thing, like a 20-something minute video.
Okay.
And like, I like before then, I heard about it because I got an email from YouTube being like,
Right.
hey, the COPPA Act is doing the thing, so like, try to like set your channel as like for kids or not for kids and stuff like that. And then Chadtronic came up with the video, and then like after that I didn't really see anyone on Twitter talking about it. And I saw Chadtronic talking about it, but that's really it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like a few days afterwards, like literally everyone I follow was talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And like basically everyone I follow is a YouTuber, so like it's
So
super
now there's
huge.
a big, like,
Discrepancy.
a big upset.
Yeah,
Everyone's mad.
everyone is.
Pitchforks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And torches.
Do we think it's now in your professional, because you are technically a professional YouTuber?
Yeah.
In your professional opinion, is it gonna be blown over, or is this gonna be like the monetization policy where everyone makes a big stink and YouTube changes it just a little bit?
No, I feel like this is just this is like different from monetization and like bigger if in that case.
Bigger?
Yeah, actually.
What was the end result of the monetization? Did YouTube end up going back on their word a little bit, or did they just say we don't care about what you're saying?
I mean,
Because this isn't actually really even up to YouTube.
yeah, actually, it's literally the government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, YouTube. I mean, because like remember how after the whole Logan Paul situation back in 2018.
I do.
And like how that was like a big deal with like ads, and like that wasn't the only thing. There was like the whole like PewDiePie controversy, and and then like
Lots of controversy.
and like you just started talking about like channels or like videos that are like not advertiser friendly like at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it just it really affected the monetization thing. I mean, like so many people got struck with monetization or demonetization by not being panel friendly, and like sometimes there was stuff like which didn't make any sense at all. Like you would watch the video and like, oh, this is advertiser friendly. There's nothing bad about it. There's no cursing. There's nothing too like controversial. It's like a news source.
Right.
And like, how do you feel about like Phil DeFranco?
I back when I spent way more time on YouTube, back when I was a younger kid, I watched him occasionally, not daily, but occasionally.
Because like he talks about like news all the time.
He does. He's a news channel.
Yeah,
actually.
And like I've saw a lot of tweets from him saying like how he's been like hit by demonetization like a crap ton.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He's a political channel.
Yeah.
He literally says his political views. You know, right? I haven't watched
his
his channel in forever. I mean, I know he says news, but then he also takes an opinion stance on occasion.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, that's from what I remember.
But he differentiates. See, and that's the important part. You don't really need to demonetize opinion videos as long as they differentiate. Because I think really what YouTube was trying to do is attack the brainwashing section of videos.
Yeah.
You know, and that be either side of the spectrum. There's videos that are specifically designed to, and you know what? This TV does it too.
Yeah.
Really. Like TV, the CNN, Fox News, they both are rabid with this problem.
Exactly.
It's a program that's designed from a point of view to fit their narrative, right? And they were really going after things like that. Because if you have a whole video just about how you're right and you only show the evidence of how you're right, then, well, yeah, it's going to seem like you're right. But it's like there's this whole world of things over here that you don't even know exists.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I...
Should we get back to it?
Yeah, let's get back to it.
Yeah, let's see the next question.
Yeah.
Media group, just concerned about the data that was collected, because obviously they are being fined for collecting some sort
Big
of data.
debt.
What happens to that? Is it anything retroactively going to happen to destroy or remove that
bet he
content
says
from
no.
their possession?
Right. So under our order, YouTube is prohibited from using this already collected data for any purpose, even purposes that would be permitted under the COPPA rule.
So they don't make him delete it.
Yes, Margaret?
No.
So they have it still.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Slaughter raised concerns that
You
this
just can't
would
do anything
maybe
with it.
incentivize
YouTube's like,
content creators to
"We promise."
identify programming
guys.
to ensure that they continue to receive revenue from behavioral advertising. Can you respond to that criticism, and how might the FTC combat that issue?
So I think that's a valid concern. There is apparently, we've learned in this investigation and just learned from, in the now information in the public domain, that there are benefits to gathering information and targeting advertising. And so it is possible that content creators will misdesignate. So one response to that is that's why we're conducting the sweep. The second response to that is that there will be consequences for content creators who misdesignate, including being kicked off the YouTube platform. So if content creators
Now here's where it gets messy.
are
again,
not,
he's not being clear. What is
sincere or forthcoming
misdesignating?
with YouTube and
That could mean
designating
anything
content
from
as being
people who
as being directed
make
to
mature
children.
content
There will be
for
there will be
kids,
consequences for
misdesignate
them.
their
We
video,
also
they're saying
think
it's for
that
kids, it's
YouTube
not. Or
has strong
people who
incentives
say
to
that
police
it's a
its platform,
content-created
both
video,
to
but it's
avoid
really just
future
one big ad.
enforcement actions by the
But what-
FTC, but also because it's offering this platform to content creators. And if the FTC is bringing independent piecemeal actions against content creators for violating COPPA, that may discourage content creators from posting content on YouTube. So the analogy that I think of, imperfect, is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. and YouTube is the barrel, and the content creators are the fish. And so it's a place where this content is centralized, and essentially it's easy for us to find. Yeah, up in front here.
Do we know if there's anyone who has been taken action, or who the FTC has taken action against so far?
There's the
Besides
whole
the YouTube
YouTube
platform
and
as a
Google.
whole. No, but like the individual creators.
No.
Because this is 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've heard anything happen to creators. Although I've seen a lot of like video suggestions talking about like these creators being like, "Hey, this is my last video because of COPPA," like stuff like that. Yeah.
my last video. That's a little
Yeah.
dramatic.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
There's some YouTubers.
That's dramatic. You don't need to be this is my last video.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, is it kids YouTubers though?
No,
Who is it?
I don't think at least. I mean, they're YouTubers I don't watch, so I wouldn't say. I can't really tell.
I would say that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, if you're a mature YouTuber, the biggest effect this is going to have on you is maybe segmenting part of the younger market.
Anybody
Who's
got
that?
time for that?
Felt lonely.
Maybe
You're never lonely when you're with me, man.
Jeff.
I can't read the chat. My eyes are too bad.
Just ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's a good meme.
Nobody got time for that.
And please give me attention. You get
All the attention.
everyone. Everyone in this chat is getting attention. We love everyone.
Let me stare at you for a second. Just meet my eye line.
What are you talking about? To Andrew?
I don't know. Whoever wants attention.
Him?
Oh, he needs attention?
I think he's got attention.
He probably has too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, people... We should... No, I'm not going to say that on the stream.
Okay, better not. But yeah, there's nothing like there hasn't been a case of like a specific YouTuber being like struck hard with it.
Like, boom.
Especially since like I don't think there has been anything. I think they said something about the act not fully taking place until December.
Interesting.
So like December is when like stuff is like really gonna go down.
Bureaucracy is slow. That would make sense. And
Yeah.
that also means they're probably going to take a month or two to build a case against
Mhm.
someone. So I would expect to not really see any real action taken until March, maybe after.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see. I mean, yeah, there's something I'll talk about after this.
Okay, because I want to hear about this question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the chairman talked about. Oh, I'm Diane Bars with Reuters. So the chairman was talking about how YouTube was not strictly directly liable. Did I get that right? But the content creators are under COPPA. And you're talking about a sweep going forward. So does that mean that COPPA violations committed by maybe YouTube channels previous to today are not being looked at? Is that or am I misunderstanding something?
Yeah, well, we're not saying that. I mean, there is no release in this order for other channel owners or content creators. Whether we are bringing actions against individual channel owners or content creators, I couldn't comment on here. I can't comment on any investigations that either that we have them open or that we don't have them open. So don't take that away from what the chairman said. I would say that with respect to strict liability, it's important to keep in mind what the COPPA rule does and what the COPPA rule doesn't do. So what COPPA does is it prohibits the collection of personally identifiable information from children under the age of 12 and under without verifiable parental consent. On the internet, though, you don't know who your users are. So what the COPPA rule more specifically does is where the content is directed to children, we are presuming that the users are 12 and under. So if you are the purveyor of child-directed content, we are presuming that your users are 12 and under and you cannot collect personally identifiable information from them without verifiable parental consent. If, however,
Okay.
you are a general audience
So is that why
platform,
like you can't
like
view
YouTube,
analytics for like people
you
under
don't know what the
13?
content
That's exactly
necessarily
right.
on
Okay.
your
Okay,
platform
actually,
is. So we,
so
under our
I've
rule and under the
misunderstood
statute, you
this
are only held liable
law.
if you have
Okay.
actual
Now that
knowledge
we've had some
that the content
clarification
is
from
child-directed. So that's what we
this,
mean when we
blonde
talk about
Kennedy
strict
figure.
liability.
Kennedy.
He looks a little bit.
Like which one, Robert or John?
They're all the same person.
Uh,
really. I mean, but
And hey, both brothers got murdered.
yeah. Wait, which is the one that drove Chappaquiddick?
I don't know that at all.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So this law actually has very little to do with advertising. It actually has nothing to do with advertising.
Okay.
Really. At least it does have to do with advertising, the fact that targeted advertising, it prevents that. But really what this is about is collecting information. So
Yes, I can, Sandra. I can see what you type. She just wanted to make sure I can see what she's typing.
yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But really this has to do with, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense, but still shaky.
Okay.
That's why they're making all these 4Kids channels, no notifications, no likes, because all those things are used. They take what you've liked, what you've notified, and what you've commented on, and they put it in a system. And then they say, well, okay, they like this, right? So they must like that.
Exactly. They would get recommended other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, that probably means that kids' channels won't be in the recommended feed at all.
I mean, yeah, that's what they stated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember where I heard this, but it's on YouTube, the Google. Google sent said something.
Sauce.
Okay, you get lost in the sauce, Jeff. They said stuff about like your viewer, like your audience, and it says like your channel being in like for kids or not for kids, and they actually said like, because we talked about this on the phone.
Yeah, I remember this.
It said stuff about like, if you set your channel as like not for kids, or like your video for not for kids, you can't comment, like, recommend, get recommended, none of that. And like if you do earn monetization, it will decrease by like 90%. So you
Really?
get like nothing basically.
Now the monetization part is interesting in that, because I don't exactly see why.
Like why would it decrease?
Yes. Okay, I think maybe there's a rationale for that. Because really how people make money on the internet is collect your information. Because then they sell it to advertisers. There's two ways. It's advertisers and information, So they'll take your information, they'll sell it to advertisers, and the advertisers in turn will buy things on people's sites saying, use this information. I know that your people go here. The people that, like, let's say want a vacuum cleaner. I want to put a vacuum, because I know that from you, I want to put a vacuum cleaner ad on your site. Therefore, they pay money, and then YouTube makes money. Yeah, from selling and buying. Now, if they don't have that information to collect, then therefore they can't guarantee what type of viewers are watching those videos. Therefore, they can't guarantee that those ads will be efficient in any kind of way, right?
Right.
So ads being placed on those videos are going to drop dramatically, because YouTube A won't be able to sell the information, and B won't be able to sell ad spots, right? So most of the monetization would be from people who are literally shot in the dark with ads, right? And that's going to be a very low percentage, because advertising is all about hitting your exact demographic to get your message out. So monetization, it's not really YouTube's fault, because no one's placing ads on these videos. I guess that would probably be why.
Yeah.
But again, which is difficult.
It is. This whole topic is difficult to fully not difficult. Well, not difficult to understand, but I
It's
think
difficult to work with.
Yeah, especially since there are so many like vague statements made.
Especially by this guy. He
Yeah.
doesn't even know what he's talking about. I mean, it's kind of an attack on
Content creators.
I wouldn't even say on the more mature content creators.
Yeah.
If anything, this is going to promote their work.
Really?
Well, yeah, because you think kids are going to want to watch all this stuff that says for kids?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, for like really, really young kids, I don't think they would care. Because, they don't really have... they have a say, but, like...
they don't have the faculties to understand.
Yeah.
That. Although, hopefully, most of those kids won't be spending most of their time on YouTube.
Right.
Let's assume we're talking about at least 6 who has the intelligence enough to say, okay, I like this guy, which is very waning, but you know. But really, this is horrible for the kids' channels. It's a direct attack on for kids' channels.
Especially if like YouTubers like actually want to make money with their kids' channels.
The only way they can make money now is outside deals.
Yeah.
They have to go, if you're a kids' channel, this is why it's kind of stupid, because now channels like Ryan's Toy Reviews, they're going to become infinitely more popular.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones who are going to be able to survive. Because most of the other smaller kids' channels were making money. Did you almost fall?
No, my knee hit the desk.
Oh.
So
Oh.
No, this chair is stable. I don't move.
Mm.
I can do this though.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I got the same chair. I can do it too.
You do.
Not here though.
Yeah.
You just can't see me.
Exactly. Jeff's out of the frame.
Out of the frame. But channel like stuff like Ryan's Toy Reviews, they're gonna be able to make money because they can go to Hasbro, as I said earlier, and be like, "Yo,
they literally
I'll
have
sell your
toys
toy for
available
you."
in stores.
Exactly.
So
I'll sell your toy.
They're
for
kind
you.
of set, if anything.
Yeah, so they're fine.
Yeah.
But the smaller time channel that needs that YouTube, like the middle class channel, let's say, that is making real content, that is not provided money by outside advertisers, the Andrew Yang of channels, because Andrew Yang. Oh, I am not in frame. Okay.
No, you were when you weren't when you actually went back.
Oh,
because this is
okay.
behind a bit.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I
That's
understand.
funny. Sandra actually hit her table at the around the same time.
It's voodoo.
It is voodoo magic.
Yeah. They're screwed.
Deja vu, just like Nickelback would say.
You remember our Nickelback religion?
Yeah, that was funny.
Nickelback is Jesus.
Yeah.
What did we name it?
Nickelback is Nicholism, I think.
No, we didn't.
I think it was something like that. It was either Nicholism or Nickelbackism. Something
I feel
like that.
like I must have.
Because we based it off of Marxism.
We based our religion off of Marxism?
No, we based the name Marxism, but we just took the ism from it and put it.
What was I thinking that night?
We were kind of just tired, I guess.
I was, yeah. Let's
Even
say
though it wasn't that late, it was 10 something.
we're on stream, so I'm gonna say I was tired.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next question.
Yeah.
For content creators, but a knowledge requirement for a general audience platform like YouTube.
What are you, a villager?
Yes.
Thank you for taking my second question. Another criticism of the settlement today has been an alleged double standard by the FTC that it holds small COPPA violators individually liable for the COPPA violations, whereas YouTube, Google, big company, Silicon Valley, no individual executives have been held accountable in this order.
So
I want to hear what he
I
says, 'cause this is a good
differ
question.
with that characterization of our COPPA enforcement to date. I do not believe that we treat small companies and big companies differently. With respect to an individual liability standard for a civil penalty, you have to show that an individual has actual knowledge of the violative conduct. That, as a practical matter, is much easier to do in a company with 2 employees than in a company with 200,000 employees. In addition, we typically seek individual liability where we need to fully protect consumers, whether it's to get money or to get an injunction that will actually be enforceable. And so in small companies, what you frequently find is that our concern is that the owner of the company, the principal of the company, will simply shut down and move across the street and do it again. So it's very important to get that individual under order. Also, you don't typically have those circumstances in a very large company. But I would say that with respect to the assessment of civil penalties, we have tried and I think succeeded in being even-handed. And that's why this is such an eye-popping number for Google. So what we typically do is we look at it. We look at the revenue that was earned from the violative conduct, and
$170 million for
apply a
Google. That's
multiplier.
like
to
$2 for a porn
that
star.
revenue based on
They
the
don't
circumstances
care.
of the individual case in
Yeah.
front of us. That's what we did in Musically. That's what we've done
Musically?
in all of our other COPPA cases as well, at least the ones on my watch.
Wait, so they
we
hit
have,
Musically with the COPPA
so I
thing,
think
too.
that
They
we
did.
have something
I
of a
don't remember that,
rubric
actually.
for
They
assessing
probably didn't
civil
make it a whole-
penalties and individual
Yeah.
liability under COPPA.
All I remember
and
from
I believe
Musically is that they
we
sold it
have
to a Chinese
applied that
company to make
rubric
TikTok.
equally to small and to large
So-
companies.
So Musically is TikTok now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hey, Ben Brody from
I'm glad that I
Bloomberg.
know that. That really
You
expanded
talked a
my
lot about the
mind.
knowledge requirement, and in the complaint, there's a lot of detail about YouTube basically touting its young users in its advertising materials. Given the steps that are going to be taken today, what could really prove that YouTube had actual knowledge of of data being collected on child-directed content in the future, if this sweep maybe suggested that YouTube should be that YouTube is still collecting this data? How could they really be held liable?
So the injunction is going to help because there will be a requirement that they actively inquire about whether or not content is child-directed of the content creators. Other than that, we have the same enforcement
That's
and investigative
what
tools
he's
that we
talking
have
about
always
with
had under
the
COPPA,
asking
and that
if
we
you're
used to prove up
child-friendly
this
or-
case.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have knowledge, we have evidence of actual knowledge of YouTube and Google that this was content that was directed to children. We proved that up with various statements which are highlighted in the complaint about, YouTube is the new Saturday morning television, and YouTube is the most popular site for children ages 2 to 12, that kind of stuff. So we will continue to have those tools at our disposal
Flash
as
Plays
well.
Good Time
But
4.
you're right, that actual knowledge can be a tricky thing to show, and it
video
can
every
be
Saturday.
very fact intensive.
I wish.
So in this case, if we were to have gone to litigation with this case, we would have had to prove actual
it's
knowledge with respect to
air
every
Reddit,
single
you'll remember.
channel, and
Oh, yeah.
in order
Or I
to
can just watch
obtain
this again.
penalties for law
Okay,
violations
yeah.
with respect
Note to
that
Daniel.
individual channel. Yet another reason why this is such a great number that the staff has been able to put up with this civil penalty. Okay.
So we're ready for questions from the phone, please.
From the phone. Okay, people are calling in.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you wish to ask a question, please press star one. Our first question comes from
sipping on
Tony
the lane.
Rahm with Washington
Oh.
Post. Please go ahead.
Washington Post.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
They're dead.
You there, Tony?
Tony the Tiger? Yo.
Just so you know, the Washington Post
Maybe
is
he
like
has
a
us on mute.
pretty horrible newspaper.
Is it actually?
Yikes. I mean, there are worse newspapers out
We'll
there.
go to
Yeah.
the next line.
Wow, Washington Post.
Jones.
Said, screw it.
Solzman from CNET. Please go ahead.
From what now?
CNET.
Hello, can you hear me?
CNET.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for taking my question. I wanted to see if either the chairman or the
Evening,
director
Sarah.
had seen the policy changes
Cassie
YouTube
Fresh.
announced this morning and whether or not any of those go beyond what's included in the complaint and consent decree.
So I have not. This is Andrew Smith, the bureau director. Our chairman has had to leave for a meeting, but I have not seen the changes announced this morning by YouTube. I would say that over the last couple of months, there have been a variety of articles written
What were the changes
about
announced
the
on
changes that are being
September 4th?
contemplated by YouTube. I
frick.
would say that some of those are probably motivated by our order, and some of those are motivated by
The most
an
recent
interest
thing I heard
in
was the whole Made for Kids, not Made for Kids thing. But that was
an
like
interest
2
in
weeks ago.
creating
Yeah,
what
that
I'll
was-
call a kid safe zone, whether that be an app or a website where there is curated content for kids that parents can have confidence in. And it seems to me as though everyone, all of the stakeholders, the consumer advocates, the privacy groups, the parent advocates, the FTC, members of Congress, and industry would
Industry.
believe that the most beneficial end state would be general audience platforms hosting kid-safe zones where curated content can be provided and kids won't be subjected to violent or otherwise inappropriate content or advertisements or marketing. So I haven't seen this morning's changes, but I'm
Okay, well-
encouraged by them, and I do think that, at least in part, they may be motivated
first
by
off, there's
our order
already
and also
a
by
segment
our
that
investigation
is
and inquiry.
safe for kids. Maybe not necessarily the advertising, but
Yeah.
in terms of the videos, YouTube Kids exists for that.
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah,
It's
that's the whole premise of it.
And what he's basically saying is there needs to be an area of YouTube that's safe from not only the first part, which we already talked about, that's the safe from violence, maturity, all that, which there is. There needs to be an advertising free zone for that. But that's stupid. Because again, first off, there is advertisements on TV.
Yeah.
You see advertisements for stuff, and they're directed at kids already. But let's just pretend for a moment that they're not. These companies are companies that make deals, right, with large toy companies to sell to, and the toy companies in turn give them money to make the thing so they can sell their toys.
Yeah.
But YouTubers don't have that. They make their own content independently, and all their revenue comes from ads. If they are not making videos with big toys, now we are not going to see YouTubers start making cartoons.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a couple, but I really doubt that's gonna just happen on large, because a cartoon is a large production. You need many people. You need voice actors. You need editors. You need
But what about like animations?
Animations, maybe, but like most of the animations you see, they're independent things.
Yeah.
You know, and an independent animation is a hard freaking thing to make.
I bet.
Because, again, you're doing the animating, the voice acting, the recording, the editing, the tech stuff, all by yourself. That's like most companies like that have like at least 30 people on staff.
Right.
To do all that, and they have to pump out a video. They only make one a week. And, like, that's not a lot, especially for YouTubers who are trying to pump out one a day. So they need this ad revenue. They can't go to toy companies and get the money, because even if they did get the money, which then would totally corrupt the channels, because we've seen YouTubers that go and be like, yo, like Ryan's Toy Reviews, who go to toy companies for their money, they get totally corrupted.
Yeah.
But even if they could get the money, they don't have the manpower or the resources to do the things that big TV can. They just don't. So it's not fair. You need to understand, this is going to completely slay the kids' version of YouTube. It's just not going to exist anymore. I mean, maybe it'll exist in its own weird iteration, but I just don't see how people are going to be able to make money off it. And if you can't make money off it, it just, sad to say, it usually doesn't exist in capitalist America.
Indeed. Ooh, cool.
Oh, the changes are based on the order? Okay. So my staff has just said that she just took a look at the changes, and they are based on our order.
So the changes are based on them, what they said.
And our next question is from Tony Rahm with Washington Post.
Washington Post. Tony's back.
Thanks, guys. Maybe this will work this time. I just want to follow up on something that a few others have asked at this point. I don't see anywhere in the order that explicitly requires Google to police YouTube to ensure that channel operators are appropriately labeling. And second, I can't tell if the commission ever sought to require Google to do that, to implement the kinds of machine learning tools that would do that active, constant policing. So can you talk about that, and whether Google would be held liable in a case in which, you know, a channel informed the company that it wasn't kid-directed content, but it turned out to be?
Are they going to roll over and just say never mind, or are they going to do it?
Yeah.
If YouTube has actual knowledge that content is directed to children, and it is collecting information about or from users of that content, then it will be liable. So that's just the rule. That's the black letter law. With respect to this idea that Google should have or should implement an algorithm or some sort of a classifier system for reviewing content and putting it in the child-directed bucket, that is something that that may be something that's among the changes announced by Google this morning.
What?
Is there anything in Google's announcement, Kristen, that discusses the algorithm? Because Okay, so the announcement this morning says that the company intends to find child-directed content using machine learning. We thought
that itself is a
about
little wonky.
imposing that type of a
Machines are
requirement
always
by
right.
order, but ultimately decided against it for
Maybe
at
at
least
some point
two
they will be,
reasons.
but
One is that it would
definitely
be
not now.
unenforceable, we thought, in an order. So what the order provision would say is, Google, you must implement a system, an algorithm, a classifier, machine learning in order to find child-directed content. Well, let's say that they did that, but we thought it was ineffective, or we thought it was, somehow sort of Mickey Mouse. And how would we enforce that in a
Mickey
court?
Mouse?
Because we would say they implemented a classifier, but it didn't work. And the judge would say, well, okay, but how do I know it doesn't
YouTube
work?
could solve-
They'll have an
I just
expert who
realized
comes in
to me
who
Yeah.
says, no,
that
the
the whole-
classifier does this, that,
the
and the other
whole
thing.
way that
And we'll have an
COPPA is
expert
worded
that
is- and the only
that
reason I'm
says the
interrupting this is
opposite, which
because
is a
my answer to
classic
the
sort of
earlier
battle of
question is YouTube
experts,
is gonna
which courts
enforce
hate in
this.
order
Obviously,
enforcement proceedings.
yes, they
And
have to,
there,
'cause they're
we
not-
think
they have
that
to.
it may be
Yeah.
that the tie
But,
would go to the runner, would
YouTube
go
could
to
avoid all
YouTube.
this because the way the agreement is
The
worded is
second
they say
reason why
children
we
13 and
were
under
concerned
can't
about it
consent
is that we
to
didn't want
receiving
that
advertising, giving
classifier
their
to be
information away,
used by
and parents
YouTube
can't
as a
consent in any
shield
way.
against our
So they could
enforcement.
avoid this whole
So
thing
right
if
now
they
the
just
order
said
says you
cannot
must
legally have a
require
YouTube
content,
account
all
if
channel
you're
owners,
under 13.
to designate if child
That
directed.
way,
Then
they
there would
not
be another
actually
requirement that
lose
says, and
any
you must implement a
children viewers,
classifier
because
system
children
to
viewers
find all the
would
stuff
just
that's
go
not
and
properly
create
designated.
a light account,
Okay.
right?
So
And then
YouTube does
that way they wouldn't be
and
held
then we
accountable
go in and we
for
try
the
to
consent
enforce against them
because
for
they're
an order
illegally
violation
viewing the
or
content.
for a
Right.
COPPA violation, and they say, well,
So that way
wait
they
a
could just
second.
completely
We
bypass the
did what you told us to do in this order. We're doing what
Without
no one else
affecting anyone.
in the
That's
world
true.
has to do to comply with COPPA. And we were concerned that that would make it more difficult to bring an action in the future going forward. So those are two reasons why, and actually the third reason is that we thought that an algorithm just might not be effective, and it would be very difficult to prescribe a provision requiring an algorithm that could change with technology, change over time for an order that is going to be effective essentially until the end of time. So those are all the reasons
end of
why
time.
we thought that an
Terminator.
algorithm wasn't a great idea in order. But I understand from this morning's announcement, as it was just relayed to me, that YouTube is undertaking that voluntarily. I think
the
that
whole,
that
like,
is
computer
a demonstration
thing,
that
machines,
they
like,
have
detecting something in a
incentives to
video
make
is,
sure
like,
to police
has
their
been
platform,
wonky for,
not
like, a
only
few
to make
years
sure that
now.
it's a safe place for
Never been
kids,
good.
Yeah,
but
no.
also that it's a safe place for
Especially
content
when,
creators,
like,
because like
when it
I
comes
said
to, like,
earlier,
copyrighted content.
we don't think that they want to be in a situation
Crazy.
where
Like,
we are
music,
essentially using
yeah.
Not
YouTube
crazy
as a way to
good.
target our enforcement
Definitely
action
not.
against content
Like
creators and
music,
channel
obviously,
owners.
it could be easily sensed,
Thanks.
Yeah.
but like, there's other stuff that
Our
like.
next question is from
sort of
Anaya
like the monetization
Kamenet
thing.
with
That's
NPR.
computer
Please
stuff.
go ahead.
Because
It's machines.
There's
Hi,
just stuff
I'm
that-
wondering what difference this might make in terms of user experience. Is it more likely that parents and children using YouTube will be prompted to sign in and get permission, or is it more likely that child-directed content simply will not collect cookies?
So user experience is something that we here at the FTC are quite concerned about. We're also concerned about the effect of this on the content creator community, and that's one reason why, one among many reasons why we have announced recently a review of the COPPA rule to look at this among several other issues under COPPA, not just the platform questions. So with respect to user experience, right now there is an app, and also as of a couple of days ago, I believe, a website for YouTube Kids, which probably mimics what a COPPA compliant user experience would be like. So there is curated content
So he knows
that
about
is
YouTube Kids.
specifically targeted to different age groups of children. There is no information collected with respect to that, so that doesn't just mean no cookies and no targeted advertising. It means no comments, and also I'm
He's
looking
talking
at
about the
staff
no
no
comments.
likes
Oh,
and
yeah.
favorites as well.
Well, you can't even favorite anymore. This is not.
So at the
10 years
very
ago, you
least,
could,
no
not anymore.
comments. So that would possibly detract from the user experience. Other than that, though, we have been told that the user experience is okay on those COPPA compliant websites. Now, will those websites continue to have the same quality and quantity of content? That's something that I think remains to be seen. Are there other questions on the phone?
If you wish to ask a question, please press star 1. We do have a question from Kirk Victor with FTC Watch.
FTC Watch. Oh.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for taking questions. Most of mine have been covered, but one recurring criticism is, how did you arrive at the penalty figures? That was a criticism both in Facebook and again on this. Can you elaborate a bit on how you came up with these numbers?
So,
why 170 million? Why fine?
Honestly, I would love to elaborate on how we came up with the numbers, but that information is non-public. It involves revenue figures from the various channels that we looked at. I will tell you that the number was revenue based, and it was as in our other recent COPPA
based on the
cases,
revenue of the channels?
was a multiple
Based on the revenue of the
revenue.
YouTube
What we
as a whole.
calculated to be the revenue earned from
YouTube made but never used.
from targeted advertising.
Which one?
With respect to these channels. Now, keep in mind.
I mean, it wasn't as prominent as YouTube like
could
wanted
still
it to be.
serve up contextual advertising.
It was like Netflix Kids.
So not targeted ads.
It exists.
And there would be
Does
some
anyone
revenue
really
from
go on it?
contextual advertising, and so. We tried to.
So maybe that might be a
not
reason why
include that,
they're making COPPA such a big deal with
in the
like
calculation.
regular YouTube, because no one really.
We
not
also
too many
keep
people
in
care
mind would need to show
much about YouTube
that
Kids.
YouTube
So now you
had
have to either be
actual
YouTube
knowledge
Kids
that the content on these specific channels was directed to children. And so
Like
I
me,
talked
for
a
example,
bit
I haven't
about the
exactly, like,
challenges
100% been
of
family
showing
friendly until,
actual
like,
knowledge. So that
I wanna
also was
say
factored into our considerations.
February of
But
2018.
given all of that, there was
like,
sizable revenue. and
about
it's
like fall of
reflected in
2017.
this
That's when I stopped
sizable
cursing,
penalty.
but there was still cursing on the channel if I guess.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Didn't bleep yet.
Exactly, but then in February of 2018, that's when I started bleeping, and that from that
Hi,
day
Angelique
forward
Carson with the
has
International
been like
Association
family
of Privacy
friendly.
Professionals.
What are you going to do about
IAPP?
streams? Because I cursed on this.
The FTC has launched, I
That's true.
understand, its public
I mean, like with the
consultation
COPPA thing,
process
I can just make it
on
not be for
looking
kids.
at COPPA and maybe revising the rule. I'm wondering
Easier
what,
said than done.
if anything,
Yes, it
this
is.
changes, or does this settlement influence perhaps the FTC's view on what should change under COPPA itself?
So, with respect to this rule review that we've announced, one of the topics that we will look at is whether there might be ways to encourage
Do we think we're
general
gonna watch
audience
the whole
platforms like YouTube to
video?
develop
I mean,
kid-safe
like,
zones
it's
with
34 minutes long,
child-appropriate
or left,
content
or
and
long.
navigational
So
tools.
far. And there's
So
47.
that's
Yeah.
just
There's
one of the
13
topics.
minutes.
Another
Not bad.
topic that
Yeah,
we're
we can
looking
finish it.
at is ed
We'll
tech.
give some like
And,
final thoughts at the end.
Whether we're looking at consent
send
and
me a,
parental consent
send
as it
Brian,
relates
send
to
me a little
educational
screenshot of
technology
the frame
used
that
in
we paused
schools.
on.
So there might be
I
all
like that, I
kinds
like
of
that.
legitimate important reasons to collect information in connection with ed tech in order to serve up the educational services. But how does one obtain parental consent, verifiable parental consent in that classroom context? Another issue that we are planning to look at is the collection and use of audio files, including our existing enforcement policy with respect to audio files that are collected. So what we have said in our enforcement policy is that
It's like commentary, for example, right?
a voice command,
Like the
think
audio
about like
files
an
of the
internet-connected
videos?
toy.
No, they're
That
talking
a voice
about.
command can be.
They're talking about Google.
Oh,
They're talking about the collection of commands like okay.
like okay, Google.
You just triggered everyone. You just triggered everyone's thing. Are you happy now?
Well, that's if they have Google.
Yeah, which they should.
Because they have Apple, which is
Apple's doesn't work well. We're not going to include it.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
you-
I mean, does
you have to
Apple
press it.
have the Hey Google thing?
Okay, I have to give it. I don't like to do this.
Yeah.
Because I hate Apple.
Yeah.
But let me give a shout out real quick.
Okay.
Their privacy policies are
Very good.
very good. They don't collect your data in terms of voice memos or voice stuff. They don't. I'm not 100. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure and if anything regarding your phone, they will not let the government. They will not let anyone collect. Apple might collect data themselves to then resell you their product.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would doubt it because they are pretty ironclad about that. Like, usually, like the government will go to Apple with like phones that are in important cases or like stuff like what was that dude who exposed a bunch of stuff like way back?
I do remember that actually.
Oh, it was a bunch of stuff about the government. But basically, they take.
Oh wait, so the person like, there's this guy who like said like, hey,
about the government, yeah.
Like your phone is listening to you. Or
exactly. Yeah.
But that wasn't that a deal with Apple too? Like someone made a video about like how Apple does it as well, not just Google.
I bet Apple does it, but they don't sell it to the government.
Yeah.
And again, don't quote me on this because I'm not sure. But I know that they've been sticklers in the past where the government has come to them and been like, yo, we need to unlock this phone for a case.
Yeah.
It's evidence. And they're like, no. Sorry. Good luck. Go have fun.
Yeah.
They won't do it. So I would assume that Apple is a little bit more above board. But we're talking about Google. We're talking about the A one, the Amazon one. I'm not going to say its name. Unlike Daniel, I'm considerate.
I'm not remembering what the Amazon is.
Don't say it. It's ALEX.
Oh.
Yeah. But
play Despacito.
I think the Sonos has their own.
Who?
Sonos, you know the Sonos speakers? I think they might have their own, but I think now it's just with Google. But
maybe.
Any of those, and then again, like he said, internet toys, like things that record you and that connected to the internet,
right?
Stuff like that. They can take that what you said.
It's like Google speakers.
Yes, but like there's also toys like that I can't come up with right now. But like there's toys that like you have to
like
say
actual
something.
like kids toys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like you know the education toys where you like say something into
it
and then they
that
repeat it back to you maybe. If that's connected to the internet, theoretically they could collect your data on that.
That's if it's connected to the internet.
If it has to be connected to the internet.
Yeah, if it's just a toy that's isn't.
Or like one of those robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that theoretically could collect your data. So, but yeah.
Collected in order to execute the command.
Execute.
But it has to be deleted as soon as practicable afterwards. So we would be looking at that.
Okay,
as
so
that
if it like
standard,
collected data, it would have to be deleted.
And should rather than just be rather than just being a statement of our enforcement policy, should that also be incorporated into the rule?
And you know 5 seconds.
So the rule
isn't
isn't only looking at these platform issues,
but
that is one of the
it's
questions
enough for
that
you
we
to pick
want
your
to
food off the
review.
floor
And
and
this
still
is. I mean, brings me back sort of to the very first point, that the importance of this case for me, in addition to the historic penalty and the strong injunctive relief, is that we are holding a platform liable under COPPA for content posted by somebody else. That's a really big deal. And if you think about all the platforms out there in the world and the economic power that they wield and the amount of content that they host,
you boil them.
Right.
This is game changing.
The game changer.
You saw my game changing
Okay.
shot?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What we got now?
More phone. Oh, I'm sorry. More phone. More questions from the phone.
We do have Kelsey Sutton with Adweek.
Adweek.
Oh, I know.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question. I wanted to ask if you could walk me through what this sweep of YouTube conducted by the FTC is going to look like, when you anticipate to begin that sweep, what it's going to entail, and how long you sort of anticipate it's going to take.
Okay.
So the order includes a period for implementation. So we would not start looking at, because it's going to take a while for YouTube to canvass all of its channel owners to determine, for them to obtain that self-designation of child-directed content. So there is a period.
Remember how we
a period of time during which YouTube has to comply with the order. Once that compliance period is completed, we would begin our sweep. With respect to the length of time, the number of sites reviewed, things like this, that is information that I don't think I can comment on. It would be
dang it.
Never mind, they're not going to talk.
Public investigational information. But we do looked at in context. We do a lot of these sweeps. Frequently, we conduct these
sweep,
sweeps in conjunction with law enforcement partners in states and elsewhere. And, we recently did a sweep on robocalling that was announced earlier this summer. So sweeps are something that we
No one
do
cares about
routinely,
that. Everyone hates
and
robocalling.
it does
Really?
They
take
deserve to.
some period of time to develop
annoying.
an enforcement action. But I'm thinking we can do it relatively expeditiously. Are there other questions on the phone?
There's one final question.
Okay.
Joan Slothman with CNET.
CNET.
Hi,
Another
yes,
senior
thank
question.
you for
Okay.
taking another question from me. I actually wanted to ask a question also about the sweeps. There was language in describing them initially about how the FTC is prepared to take aggressive action or corrective measures should they find noncompliance. Can you characterize what sort of measures are on the table and what about them would be aggressive?
Aggressive measures.
Well,
Check
with
this out.
COPPA, COPPA is one of those few privacy rules that we enforce that has civil penalties. So when we talk about aggressiveness, we are typically talking about civil penalties. And again, I know that there may be some difference of opinion about this, but in my judgment, this is an eye-popping civil penalty. And again, it represents a multiple of the revenues realized from this practice. And so I think that we would have strong penalties in future cases against content creators and channel owners as well, particularly when we would have a situation where the channel owner was specifically asked, "Are you child-directed?" and the channel owner said no. So when we see those facts, we're going to have to evaluate them. Every case is different. We'll have to evaluate the facts that we are given, and we'll have to evaluate them in context. But if I'm a channel owner, those facts don't look so good for me, I think.
Interesting.
Are there other questions?
I hate this because
Yes.
they're treating it
Oh, we
like
have two.
these
On-
people are
we
some
have
kind
two
of
in the room, and then
nefarious, horrible people. How
There's
dare
no
they
further questions
try and
here.
make content like
Thank you very much online.
they're just trying to.
Okay, Margaret McGill with Politico. I did want to ask, you
Like, they're
mentioned
not trying to take
with the
advantage of anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear this. There was something about how like if you like say like a video or your channel is for children and then they find out it's not, you can be screwed over.
Well, yeah, but then you're just stupid. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. You're not nefarious. You're just kind of an idiot.
Exactly. But then there are like times where like they're very vague about what they mean by child friendly. Because you could think one thing's child friendly and then all of a sudden it's not.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't come up with anything right now.
I feel like it wouldn't be exactly obvious.
Like maybe like a
but-
specific like word that someone uses, like darn, for example.
Okay, if anyone says darn is not child friendly, like, let me have a conversation. Like, what is going through your mind? You're gonna be upset when your child says, "Oh darn it." Like, what?
I mean, because like some like places could be very strict about that kind of
Okay.
usage.
Maybe damn.
Yeah.
Like damn it, because you can say damn it to hell. That's maybe.
Yeah.
But like darn.
Or dang.
Dang, I like if you. What?
What about like substituted? Like, where's that substitute bad words? Because you know how I say like frick.
I mean. Okay, in reality, every word that has bad meaning, like the F word, is really just has bad meaning because we've assigned it to.
Yeah.
So, if over time, the F word becomes less and less powerful, and frick replaces it and becomes more and more powerful, theoretically, they could completely switch.
That's true.
But that wouldn't be fair to you.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're trying, man.
Exactly.
What do you want me to do?
It's tough these days.
You can be like, maple berries.
Or fun buckets.
Maybe. Fire trucks? I'd say if you want to be 100% safe.
Okay.
Do things that obviously have no connection.
Okay.
Maple berries. Or
well, I feel like at this point it's kind of tough because
fish in a barrel.
I've kind of like adapted to saying like frick.
Yeah, I can
so much.
Yeah,
so that's
I
why
can
it would be so
understand
like tough to actually switch to something else.
I really doubt that they're gonna come after you for frick.
Yeah.
Because even if they did, it would be later when frick had a more connotative meaning, you know?
Okay.
But it doesn't right now. When you say frick, they just no one's gonna care.
Exactly. As long as I don't say like, whoa, you know.
Yeah. Whoa. But really, to be safe, if you want to be absolutely safe, just do stuff that has absolutely no relation.
Okay.
Because you can kind of say, well, frick is close to, but no one can say mapleberries is close to, like,
Exactly.
it's mapleberries. Like, what the hell? I was just talking about a tree.
Or hell. That's a good one.
Hell is a good one.
Because like I say
That's back and forth.
I say heck.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think heck is the safe one.
Yeah.
Because hell, in some of the more religious circles, hell does have a certain connotation.
Especially when like someone
definitely.
says go to, and then you follow up with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what if this is a good one? What if someone says, "Go heck yourself"?
I think you'll be okay.
Because like, well, one, that doesn't really make too much sense.
No, it doesn't.
So.
Because even go hell yourself doesn't make
Yeah,
any
exactly.
sense.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Rule review. A question of whether there may be ways to encourage a general audience platform to develop a kid-safe zone. I know some lawmakers had urged in the FTC settlement here that the agency require YouTube to move all kid-directed content to the YouTube Kids platform. Was that ever on the table? And if not, why not? Was that something under consideration?
So,
You got it.
we are encouraged by, we think that the recent announcements by YouTube to beef up YouTube Kids, but also to have the YouTube Kids platform not just live in an app, but on the website, that those are encouraging. And we are
Doesn't it
really
already look
encouraged
technically
by
on
the
the websites?
by platforms that are developing these kid-safe zones. I would say that from a COPPA perspective, from a privacy perspective, it doesn't matter whether the content is in YouTube Kids, on youtube.com or youtubekids.com or the YouTube general audience website. If it's child-directed and YouTube has actual knowledge, then it is, then they are going to be liable under COPPA.
Because
I
they're
also
still
would
collecting
say
information, whether they're on
that
YouTube
there
Kids or
is a
not.
lot of content on YouTube Kids that is what's referred to as family friendly, and it's not necessarily kids content. It's historical content or cooking shows or the I Have
Cooking
a Dream
shows.
speech or the moon landing.
Let's go
or,
Martha
you know,
Speaks.
there are things that are kid friendly
Not
that
Martha
are,
Speaks,
that
Martha
are sort of
Stewart.
kid
The moon
ready,
landing, obviously.
that are not
Oh.
necessarily what we would think of as kid oriented.
So they're really going after the I Have a Dream speech.
Are they? Oh.
Hi,
come
Ryan
on.
from the Wall Street Journal again. What is the status of the DOJ's filing this settlement
Department of Justice?
in
Yes.
court?
So you'd
Okay.
have to, if you want comment
This
from
is
DOJ, you'd have
taking
to
it
ask
from
DOJ. I
a
will tell you what our
This is taking
statute
it to a federal case level.
requires.
Oh.
So this is our statute, is the FTC Act. If we are going to seek civil penalties, this is Section 16 of the FTC Act. If we're going to seek civil penalties, we have to refer the case to the Department of Justice. And if the Department of Justice doesn't act within 45 days, doesn't file the case itself within 45 days, then we can file it. So that's what
see.
happened here. We sent it to Justice for review. Justice did not act on it.
So they didn't
Returned
even
the
care.
case
They
to
really
us.
didn't.
They just
and
said,
we
wow.
filed it.
Bro, I am
anything
busy.
more than that, it would be.
Department of Justice
you'd have
has
to
their
ask
hands
Justice.
full with this administration.
I bet.
They cannot deal with COPPA right now. That's like, okay, bottom of the list. I can hear the microphone.
Yeah. Be like,
Hi, Steven from CBS News.
Okay.
Is it safe to
Why'd
say
you do
if
that?
I
YouTube
wanted to
is
replicate it.
informing channel creators that they need to be COPPA compliant, they go through the training, moving forward, content creators are more at risk than the actual platform at being fined?
Good question.
Content
Best
creators
question.
Oh,
are always
shoot.
at risk of being fined because they're and channel owners, because there we have a situation where we have a website or an online service that is directed to children. So there, in the general audience platform, we still have this knowledge requirement that we have to prove up. So there is, I think, in theory as well as practically speaking, generally a higher risk for channel owners and content creators who, after all, are creating this content and know intimately whether or not it's directed to children or not.
Ben Brody from Bloomberg. I guess I better make it good. What's your level of concern about platforms with actual knowledge of data collection of child-directed content out there? Is this the end of the war or the first battle?
Well, it's clearly the first battle, right? Whether it's the only battle, I don't know. My hunch is not, but that, because there are a lot of platforms that may be in this same space, and we don't necessarily think of them. So we people often speak of YouTube as being sort of sui generis. It's the only one of its kind. It's the biggest and it's the baddest. And
Well, it is the biggest.
And
Another one of
I
only
think
one of its
that's
kind,
probably
though.
not right.
What, you mean
if you
in
think
terms
more
of
broadly
child,
about platforms,
lawsuits and stuff?
could it include
Oh, wait, never
over-the-top
mind. If that's the case,
television?
then-
I mean, YouTube's there.
Well, not child lawsuits, but child information
And
collection.
what other
Yeah,
kinds of
probably.
platforms that
it's
host
definitely
this
the
kind of user-generated
biggest,
video?
yeah, easily the biggest
content.
we've seen.
And there
Now,
are a lot
I
of
just
them. And
don't
there are new
understand
ones
why they
every
would
day.
need to take
There are new ones every day, he
So
says.
I think that it is
But like,
clearly
why would they need
the
to
first
take it any
battle.
farther? What's the
Would
point
that
of
it were the only battle
They are
and that
cl-
everybody gets the
this is,
message?
as in my mind,
But from our
the drawing of the line.
perspective,
right,
we're
this is as
not
far
going
as
to be
you can
resting
go.
on our
They are
laurels.
literally saying
This
no
is
information. They took away comments, they took away likes, they took
yeah,
away
this-
even
this is a
freaking
new
notification.
front
Who
in
uses the
the co-
notification,
in-
man?
in the COPPA
I know I don't.
enforcement
When I was a
world.
YouTuber, when I was a YouTube consumer, which again,
Okay.
I'm not now.
Well,
but
thank you very
I
much,
don't,
everybody.
Like,
Thank you,
I don't-
Director
oh.
Smith, for such great answers. And if anyone has
Great
additional questions,
answers. Oh
please
my
come
God.
to us. And again, thank you to the staff
We
that
look
put
like an
this all
absolute
together
unit
and to
right now.
everyone covering it today.
Jonathan Joestar.
Okay, it's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Oh, you gotta take a sip. Maybe not. What
He's
the heck was
drinking that line.
What was that beep?
I don't know.
Is bomb planted? Well, that was
Alright.
interesting.
That was interesting.
So we got some more
Now
insights.
we gotta do some final thoughts. Yes.
Yes, that's what we have to do.
All right. Gonna take these off.
Yeah, you should probably do that.
Mm.
She's what is she doing?
Right in front of the camera. Yo, what's going on with you, man?
It's having way too much fun right now.
Mm.
Okay, well that was something. You know what? Let's return it back to us and turn off the display capture so we can
Okay.
talk. And let's also put on music in the meantime.
Sure. You know, don't put these back on because the music was pretty fire.
Let's turn it down at least. There. Okay. So, Jeff, final thoughts on this whole situation.
Okay. Well, first off, I'm glad that we watched it.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of things in there. Most of it was pretty useless, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But there were a couple things that, one, that exact definition of what COPPA is, what it's trying to accomplish, and what they plan to do with it. That's
Yeah.
important. That was fairly useful. And then also the distinction of how long that it's going to be before they start coming after viewers. you
Yeah.
know? Really, I see this isn't going to be an issue until later.
Later on.
Because think about it. They give YouTube. It wasn't just a preparation period. They're gonna give YouTube a whole, like a good probably half a year
Yeah.
to do their work after December,
Mhm.
because that's when it takes effect. So, and then they're gonna need a whole nother preparation period because they can't actually start the suits until YouTube is done, right? So then there's
Mhm.
gonna be a couple month or two of preparation for the sweep done by the government. So we may not even see any action taken against us for a year,
Right.
like a whole freaking year. So that's interesting. And really, I would just say it really told me how pointless this act was. It definitely isn't exactly what I thought, because I thought it was more of an attack on advertising in general.
Yeah.
And the channels that are directed towards advertisement, and it's not. It really isn't. It's attacking YouTube's collection. It's actually attacking YouTube, which is interesting. But by attacking YouTube in this way, they attack the smaller creators.
Right.
It's attacking YouTube's ability to collect information. But really, even though YouTube is the one benefiting off that, collecting that information, it's also the creators that rely on that information, right? They need it to exist. Because as I said before, they don't have the resources to do what Big TV does.
Yeah.
They can't make deals with Hasbro and stuff without completely selling out. Because
Mhm.
they can't make good content that is also, above board. Like,
Right.
it's just, they don't have the resources. So it's it is kind of. I think this is actually going to hurt I think this is going to do the opposite of what they want, really.
Really?
Because what they want is to. Yes, they want to stop information. They want to stop information gathering on children, which that will do. But in reality, it's just going to push children away from YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
Really, it's not going to. This is. The commenting, the liking, the recommended, the quality content, that's all the things that YouTube needs to attract younger viewers. Viewers of any age.
Yeah.
So this is just going to push kids towards watching older stuff. And their information is going to be collected anyway.
Yeah.
So
especially if like kids do that whole like faking their age.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's probably why I have so many kids that are so many like people watching their 60s. On my analytics.
Daniel's, what was it, 40%?
Yeah.
40%.
I got boomers watching me.
I'm calling you out, boomers. But I mean, and this disappoints me in terms of YouTube a little bit. Also,
really?
Because they, in reality, like I said halfway through, they could just do the thing where they say, okay, it's illegal for kids 13 and younger to watch YouTube. Because that way, they are not held, no content creator and YouTube itself is not held liable for collecting information on younger kids because they can say, we don't think we are.
Exactly.
So that would end the matter right there. And that might be more difficult for YouTube because it would take a bit of a hit to their revenue and probably a hit of their viewership. But in return, they would be able to save
safe.
And they would be able to save all their content creators. But really what they're doing is instead of taking a little bit of hit of their revenue to save content creators, they're paying a short-term fine, which is basically, again, nothing for Google. $170 million. That's like $2 for the corner store, like I said. And they're letting their content creators really take this hit, which is horrible.
It really is.
They're just letting the FTC decimate these people who are just
The FTC says they can use YouTube Kids, but like...
But no one's going to make YouTube. No one's going to watch YouTube Kids because it's going to be impossible for content creators to make good content because they don't have revenue, they don't have resources, and even if they are able to secure those first two things, it's only going to be through the lens of a giant toy company like Hasbro. And Hasbro is not going to be concerned with good content.
Yeah.
They're going to be concerned with making sure it's content that is made for advertising. So it's going to completely destroy the platform.
Exactly.
So not only is it going to make kids more likely to be gathering information on older videos, it's going to be that YouTube, the content creators on YouTube Kids are going to be decimated.
Yeah.
So it's going to not do anything for stopping information. It's going to completely destroy a whole group of content creators, and I think that is the fault of not only the FTC, but of YouTube itself. That's my final thoughts.
Dang. Lots of not just jamming out.
Yeah.
Man, this situation's really interesting to say the least.
It is.
Well, for one thing, like especially when I heard of it. Well, I mean, when I first heard of it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I mean, I didn't have much of a problem, but then I heard about like stuff where like really affect channels could be fined. Then that's when I started being like worried because I'm afraid that maybe something bad would happen to me or to my channel. And there is something I want to pull up though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get it up there.
I don't know if
Wait,
it's like.
turn the display capture back on.
Well, first I gotta actually find it because if it's not, then it would be pointless.
But they can see your beautiful JoJo background.
YouTube. There's something about this.
Follow steps to delete a YouTube channel.
This is not it. I don't know if it's gonna actually say it. But there is talk about this on Twitter, for example, actually. And actually, what's it called? Wait, removing and YouTube itself. It was removing Wii channels.
Wow, oof.
Removing channels that
died.
Yikes! That. There's something about this.
Well, that's gross.
Yeah, here. There's like some videos talking about YouTube deleting channels that aren't making any money. So anyone that's like either under 1,000 subscribers.
YouTube says it can delete accounts that aren't commercially.
Yeah, this is the one. Perfect. You know, let's turn this display capture. Boom. Pow. Okay. So it's this the headline. YouTube says it can delete your account if you're not commercially viable. So if you don't, get money for your videos.
This one scared the crap out of you.
Oh, 100%. Creators are freaking out over YouTube's new terms of services, which state that the company can delete an account if it determines the user is no longer commercially viable.
The date, November 10th, 2019. This is recent.
Very recent.
Within the last 20 days, yes? 12?
Within the last 13 days, yeah.
Jeff knows math.
YouTube's new terms of services has some music content creators very worried that the company could delete their account. In this section, I actually did not know that. And it says new terms, so it should be here.
Wait, which takes effect?
Let me services.
Wait, go up.
What?
Down a little bit. This age requirements. You must
be at least 13 years old to use the service. However, children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available, if enabled by a parent or legal guardian.
Well, then I just don't understand this.
Really?
Well, because they're talking about you must be 13. When they say this service, you're talking about watching YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of all this? They could just not have YouTube Kids.
That's true, but then
maybe this is YouTube's way of sidestepping this.
You think?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're letting the channels take the hit. They're basically maybe YouTube is keeping up YouTube Kids to kind of give the FTC a little bit of a yeet.
Oh, okay.
Because the FTC doesn't really realize that no one is going to watch YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
They think, okay, well, now all the kids are going to be on that. Well, no, they're not. They're going to be on main YouTube.
Right.
So this is their way of kind of being like, oh, yeah, we're moving it all. But in the process, they're sacrificing all the channels that are kids friendly. They're basically saying, okay, we're removing them. But the thing I don't understand is why can't they just have it so it's illegal, or not illegal, but it's against the terms of service to have a 13 or younger kid, because then they couldn't be held accountable for collecting data that is for younger kids.
Yeah.
They could do that, and then that would save all the channels.
That would, actually.
I mean, it might take a bit of a blow to their viewership.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access. So like it could be like bigger than this to all or part of the service as YouTube believes in its sole discretion that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. Basic terms: if YouTube isn't making money off you, the company can delete your account. So it says YouTube is updating their terms of services on the 10th of December 2019. It presents an awful possibility for the future of creators on the platform. It seems they will be able to terminate your account if it's no longer commercially viable. You send me an email. Yeah, they didn't even like talk about this in their new terms and services when sending the email to like creators.
Wow.
So that's already like a not nice move. Aren't unclear. YouTube viewers aren't unclear either, noticing the terms were to cover. So, if anything, this would destroy YouTube. This would kill off YouTube as a whole. Like, yeah, the bigger creators will most likely still be here, but who's gonna be watching them?
Exactly.
Only big creators?
I mean, they're still probably going to be... This is the start of the gradual decline.
Yeah.
Because really, YouTube at first was like, okay, people only watch big creators anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's not really about that. Because once they're viewed as morally compromised, people are going to be like, well, I don't see any point to watch this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're gonna start moving on to other things.
Right. And like, especially if they actually delete channels that or very low channels who either don't make videos or like make videos but just don't earn money, and they watch if like a big demographic of a large YouTuber is like super small channels under the monetization guidelines, that's gonna be a big loss for big channels, because they wouldn't the count wouldn't stay. It would decrease by a whole bunch. So not only does it mess up small people, but also big people as well.
And you know what? This is a horrible move, especially because big people, we've seen they're not big forever.
Also, no, we are not tired. We were pulling through this.
I-
Jeff might be, but
I had an espresso before
okay, yeah,
this.
Jeff's just caffeinated.
I'm a little bit tired.
We're good.
But we're okay.
Yeah.
Who asked?
Melissa, a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. We're trying though. We're trying. But what's it called? Fuck. I had a train of thought.
Come on, Jeff.
I'm sorry. It's family friendly. I'm sorry. It's just Jeff. I had a train of thought. What was I saying?
Something about like the big channels not staying big forever.
Yes, thank you. We've seen that there are a few channels, PewDiePie, that manage to stay big for 15 or more years.
Yeah.
But a lot of these channels who were once super popular, they go like that. You know?
Yeah.
And if
like Fred, for example.
Like Fred, like
Ray William Johnson.
But you can name way more than I can.
Yeah.
But what happens when all those people become not popular? Because if new channels that aren't profitable can't even be given a chance to start up to really gain viewership, then there are going to be no replacements for the big channels that slowly decline.
Right.
Like, it needs to be a capitalist industry. As much as I hate to say that, there needs to be something to replace it, to move on, to eat the bigger fish. You know,
right?
Like, so.
But how would like sponsorships be affected in that case? Because like when someone gets sponsored, the money doesn't go to YouTube, right?
No,
it goes to them.
Yes,
sponsorships. It goes to the creator and the sponsor itself. Especially like if it's like you're promoting a product that someone can buy, you know, then that would be good for both characters.
I mean, I don't.
But
think
like, would sponsorships like go away if like a YouTuber is so big and it just like drops?
I mean, it would go away because sponsors would just move on to the sponsors will always be there as long as there's viewers. Sponsors are just ads.
Yeah, but like, how are there gonna be viewers if like all of them get
now
deleted?
If there's no viewers, then there's gonna be no sponsors.
Exactly.
So I'd say sponsors are going to decline as YouTube declines, really. And I think there is going to be a decline if they follow through with eliminating smaller channels.
Exactly.
Because YouTube is kind of almost about freedom in a way.
It is. I mean, the original slogan was YouTube, broadcast yourself. That was their whole slogan.
Yeah.
That's the reason why YouTube was a thing, so you could broadcast yourself.
And so many people have gotten popular. I mean, like we were talking about Phil DeFranco earlier. He was not profitable for most of his channel history.
Yeah.
At the beginning, no way.
Exactly.
And near even in the middle, before he took off again, because there was a point when he went.
Yeah.
And there was a point when he was getting like maybe a couple thousand views for video. That's not profitable.
That isn't.
That is not. Daniel can attest. That's not profitable. You don't make enough money. So he would have been deleted. Like, these people just won't exist. It's not good.
It sucks. Oh yeah, someone actually tweeted. It says YouTube pre-2020. Oh wow, I made $10 off of ads. Neat. YouTube post 2020. Your account has been suspended and your Gmail deleted for not being commercially viable. You are now being fined $42,000 for uploading Let's Play Resident Evil Part 8 under COPPA.
That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, actually. Note that if you have 100,000 subscribers, YouTube will let you use your studios in LA.
Really?
Apparently. And it's a completely different lane for people who are successful on these platforms. And a lot of the people who have been successful on YouTube have got it from doing reactionary garbage. So reaction channels. There are some reaction channels which I actually like they're cool. But like for the most part, it's like, why? Like I know a reaction channel who has like over 1 million subscribers. Over like 3 million, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them have a lot.
Yeah, I mean reactions are like simple. You just like post a reaction to like whatever, upload it, and boom, you get views. People say like, oh, it's alright as long as you like link the video in the description. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean,
would you consider it being like alright at that point?
Define alright.
Like, I think the whole debate was like how like giving credits and whatnot, or like stealing content just to make.
Yeah, I don't see it as stealing content.
Yeah.
I mean, is it making not very quality content? I can maybe attest to that. But stealing content? No. Because really, the thing that people, you might often think, if you don't really understand watching reaction videos, that people are clicking to see the thing that's being reacted to. They're not. That's not why people, they want the whole brain part of it, like the actual, like, reason they're clicking is because there's a mystery, right? There's a mystery of how this person will react. Will they be like, or will they be like, or
YouTube did respond to something. Someone tweeted, YouTube has new terms of services on December 10th. This basically says that if channels don't make enough money, they will possibly terminate them. Looks like I found to the very end, fought to the very end, but now I may be close to losing my livelihood, losing my passion and my audience and my something. I think the tweet continues. And they said, to clarify, there are no new rights in our terms of services to terminate an account because it's making money. As before, we may discontinue certain YouTube features or parts of the service. For example, if they're outdated or have low usage. This does not impact creators / viewers in any ways.
Now, interesting.
This was from November 11th, so that was like 12 days ago.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that's just for...
It's hard to say. I mean, YouTube can be pretty unpredictable. I ain't gonna lie. Well, YouTube actually, a spokesperson provided Mashable, which is the website, with this following statement: We made some changes to our terms and services in order to make them easier to read and to ensure they're up to date. We're not changing the way our products work, how we collect or process data, or any of your settings.
Okay, so we may actually be viewing more of a thing that, because actually I think I understand what the original YouTube terms of service, what they were saying, is that if the certain parts of the website are not profitable. And that might be interpreted as creators, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about parts like, the favorite.
Yeah.
That was not profitable. Because it didn't tell you enough information. People didn't favor it, and if they did, it was like sparingly, and it was not profitable. Right? So they have the right to get rid of that. So I think that's closer to what they were talking about. And that people took that as a misconception and started to run with it,
Guess what I'm gonna do while you're speaking.
Are
you done?
Almost.
Oh.
But I guess basically it's just not really that true, But I mean, who knows YouTube?
Exactly. I should have done this original, but like original FTC video.
I'm looking at myself for a while. It's crazy.
Okay, perfect.
I'd be talking.
Indeed, Jeff. All changes saved. Okay, just wanted to make sure. I just need to add the video, just in case you guys wanted to like check it out or whatever, and like watch it without us talking. But I mean, like if you did watch us talk, that's good.
Yeah, that you put up through a lot.
Yeah, actually.
I know I can talk a lot.
But it was fun. Overall, I hope that I'll be alright.
I think you'll be okay.
I hope, yeah.
Because again, really, I think, as we said earlier, the brute of the attack on the smaller channels is the kid-focused ones.
Right.
And you are family-friendly, but you're not kid-focused.
Yeah. Like, I would like kid viewers. Welcome them. Like, if kids want to watch, sure, go ahead. I mean, like, there's nothing bad.
It's Mario,
Exactly. Or Nintendo in general.
Yeah.
But, like... I'm my demographics really set to like anyone at this point.
It's open.
Like originally, it was pretty. I'd say
more on the mature side.
Yeah.
Probably about 18 plus.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Which is interesting, because we were like 14.
Yeah, we were. Because I started YouTube like on Fire Flag when I was like 12.
12. That was before you would have been targeted. For YouTube kids.
Yeah, actually.
Wow.
But that same year I turned 13.
I think that tells us a lot, actually.
Really?
Well, because obviously the kids who are like, you were a creator, not even a consumer, and you were making explicit videos.
Yeah.
So I just don't think YouTube made YouTube Kids really for kids. This is their way of sidestepping it.
Exactly.
You know. Any more final thoughts?
I mean, like, COPPA, if you do, like, actually, like, take a big poll on, like, you know, YouTube itself or, like, on creators, at least, like, well, one, make it less vague. That's a...
It is quite vague.
Big definite. And two, like, make it very reasonable, at least. Very, very reasonable. And, like, how do I explain this? Like when you're talking about like doing the fine on channels or mainly the fine, I guess. Like what do you say about the fine again? It's like if they like do something.
It's 42K, right?
Yeah, like if a YouTuber, like if a creator like does something that's like against the COPPA, then that's when do we fined?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. That's a little frightening, but as long as you're safe and not stupid, you should be fine, right? Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because how would a YouTuber collect information?
I mean, they can. Well, I mean, there's analytics, but that's collected by YouTube. So yeah, a YouTuber can't really do that.
So how would there be an individual violation?
I mean, maybe it's a case of the
advertising.
I guess the advertising, and also like if they say that like a video or something is made for kids, and then it's actually not.
Yeah, that's a clear violation.
So.
Or maybe, interestingly enough, they might be going after channels who say they're not made for kids and are clearly direct. Like if Ryan's toy reviews said explicit, well, they might be like, well, you're obviously advertising to kids.
Or like my older videos, because I did have like Mario and like Nintendo stuff that appeals to kids. People like YouTube bots can like actually probably view that as made for kids.
Especially if there's no cursing and they're bleeped out. This could be dangerous.
Yeah. Very dangerous.
I don't know if they're going to take it that far.
Really?
Because that's open-ended. Because Ryan's toy reviews, there are older people watching it, but it is obviously not made for that.
Exactly.
Your demographic, games like that are maybe more intended for kids because they're more open, but there's a thriving community of Nintendo players above 21.
Right.
And you can find that and prove it. Like, so many people play Smash, and majority of them are not kids.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's a bit more open-ended for you. I think you might be a little bit more in trouble when it starts coming to stuff like you bleeping out cursing, because then they might be able to make a case, well, you removed cursing from your videos. That's obviously something to do to appeal to younger kids, right? So I would be careful, but I doubt they're going to come after you.
Okay.
I doubt.
So should I just like still leave in like...
They're not going to fine you for 4,200 or 42K.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not going to happen.
Should I like still like put bleeps to my videos?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I'd say yes because it still leaves you open to the largest variety of people.
Okay.
Maybe.
Right.
But then again, this might incite a thing where people want to watch videos with cursing now because YouTube is going so heavily against them. People like to go against the norm, the counterculture. That's all it has been about.
Right.
You know? So maybe, if anything, your videos will be more popular with cursing. Like the records.
I see what you mean.
For anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, records in the 80s, there was a law made, similar thing. You need to do... If your record had more than a certain amount of curse words, it needed to have an explicit sign. And after that, all the records had explicit because that was the only way to sell records. Because no one would buy a non-explicit record unless you were stupid. So they started adding curse words.
Like Modern Talking didn't have cursing. And look how they did.
Yeah, they did popular.
Exactly.
That's Europe, though.
That's true. Europe's very different from America.
It is. It's very different. Americans love our counterculture.
Yeah. A lot. But I guess that's it, honestly.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's going to have a big... I feel like the whole thing is just going to have a big toll on YouTube.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah, something's 100% going to happen. When it comes to, like, the whole deleting channels...
That's rough. I doubt that.
You don't think they're actually going to, like, be like, hey, this channel's not making money? It's gone.
Because if they really wanted to leave that option open to themselves... They wouldn't have outright gone unmashable and been like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They would have been like, maybe that's going to happen. We can't confirm because that leaves them still open to a decision.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Wow.
All right. Is
Yeah.
that it?
I guess that's it.
Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for. Ow.
This one was rough.
Yeah, especially when I hit my fingers.
You injured yourself even outside of the building stream.
Exactly.
Daniel.
It's good. Gosh, it's crazy.
Do you want to let them know maybe what's happening? Maybe.
Maybe
The next stream.
Next weekend.
Possibility.
Next weekend, either on like Friday or Saturday.
When's it delivered?
Monday.
Okay.
So this coming up Monday. Me and Jeff are gonna be probably building another thing.
Maybe
not from IKEA, but it's still building nonetheless. It's gonna be a video game shelf.
That'd be crazy.
That's gonna be fun. If you guys want to join,
please
join us. It'll be fun.
It'll
We'll
be
be on YouTube or on Twitch. I'll have that decided by then.
Get a double espresso that time.
Oh yeah, you had like 3 Diet Cokes
I
on
did.
the IKEA.
God.
It wasn't that bad though. It was like 2 hours or something. No, the stream itself was like 2 hours, but like the building itself was like maybe an hour 45.
I thought the stream itself was like 3 hours.
No, like 2 hours 15 minutes.
You would probably know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This stream is like about 2 hours now.
Did you finish the highlight video?
No, I'm still working on that.
Oh, let me know. It's gonna
I
be,
will,
that one's
yeah.
gonna be great.
Yeah, there's a lot of highlights.
There was.
So it's gonna be a little tough to like figure stuff out, but I can do it.
He's got it.
Yeah, I mean school's gonna be a little wonky because like having to deal with that and YouTube.
A lot of work.
A lot of work, but hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. I mean, with college stuff,
Oof.
very rough.
Very. This is a good song to end it on.
Yeah. This is Mute City. Yeah. But from Melee, actually. But yeah, so I think that's what you're watching. I welcome you to subscribe to my channel to help a boy out. I make quality content. I've been a little down on the recording side recently, but I'm gonna try to return to like uploads like this coming up week or like the week afterwards.
That'd be great.
So yeah, that'd be cool. Like this video and share with your friends
or random stranger.
And I'm just gonna do a quick like a quick like question for like just a general.
Throw it out there. I realized we stopped doing question of the day.
No, we didn't.
We
still do it.
We still do it?
Yeah.
I don't remember that in the most recent Nintendo one.
We did though.
Okay, I don't remember anything.
Yeah. Well, because the most recent one kind of failed. Remember? Because the audio.
We don't gotta
I'm thinking about making it a lost episode though.
Oh my god, a lost episode, especially since we failed so freaking
Now,
much.
when should I do it? Should I do it like right before?
Thank you, Ralphie.
Should I do it like right before the next episode or like something towards the end?
What?
The last episodes.
Lost episode?
When would it be like a good place to like upload it?
At the end of the.
At the end?
Or maybe you should do when you got a save it for when you have a slow period and you're like, because that's what they did with SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
They waited until they had a slow period end of the season. They didn't have anything. Everyone was like, we need more SpongeBob. They like lost episode.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Or like the
and we can do we can do a stream of it.
Yeah.
Watching it.
That'd
and
be
then
cool.
you can post the video and the stream reaction.
Exactly. That'd be cool.
Maybe make some of that reaction.
Also, Rafi says super dope and interesting stream. Thank you so much, Rafi.
Thank you.
You're a G. Anyone who came and watched the stream, thank you. I deeply appreciate it. And I just hope you enjoyed all around our reaction to the FTC conference and how we personally feel about it.
And Mr. Kennedy up there.
Dude was looking jacked. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So, oh yeah, my question. I forgot.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
The question for this whole stream is going to be, how do you, as YouTube consumers / content creators, feel about the whole COPPA situation? That's gonna be the question. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Comment below.
Or if we have time, or if people actually are fast before the end of the stream, they can like talk about it in the stream. But I doubt it.
Gotta be fast.
Who knows? Yeah, you gotta be fast.
Or you can text Daniel at his number at. I was about to say it.
My social security code. Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, comment down below what you want to say, and the social media is down there. All that good stuff. Twitch is down there, so I stream sometimes. Streaming's fun. I like streaming. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I just said fun like 2 times, but it's whatever.
When we do Terraria, we'll do Terraria stream.
But yeah.
Lots of it, because Terraria is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. but it'll be still like be
And
good for like
Minecraft
an
too.
actual like video series.
Oh yeah.
So
But in Terraria, there's a lot of mining, and
there is.
we're gonna.
Then
need
there's
to do the
probably gonna be a lot
occasional
of
stream.
like editing or like speeding up.
Exactly.
So
But that makes it perfect for streaming because we can spend like 4 hours just doing work.
that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe Terraria is gonna be my first streamed Let's Play.
That'd be interesting.
Who the heck knows?
The streaming and video mix.
We'll figure that out.
Mhm.
We will figure that out when the time comes. But yeah, everything I said has been said.
Yeah.
And I'll be
now
seeing you
that the
guys
song is coming to a close,
next time. Pop Tart. Out.
we're gonna go get food.
We're hungry.
Yeah, very. See you there, Ralph.
Oh yeah. See you there. See you in a bit, Raffy.
Come find us.
Yeah.
Chess.
Indeed.